Event application for the Palos Verdes Estates Foundation. Palos Verdes Project 100, scheduled for Saturday, August 12, 23, from 2 to 10 p.m.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to recuse myself since I'm involved with the foundation.
All right, thank you, sir. And do we have, I don't know if the staff was prepared with a staff report. I understand that the applicant has a representative here that wants to present.
A couple things, Mayor. The applicant does, I believe, you're Ms. Jaco?
Yes.
Yes. Does have some presentation, some things she wants to say. I also want to note that there is a change of date on this from August 5th to August 12th. And I just wanted to make sure that that was noted for the record, and that will be explained as to why. And with that, I would just, before we start, was there any comments that we needed, Aaron, from the staff side on this? Not at this point? Okay, but we're here for questions, Mayor, if you have any. So thank you.
I think is everyone comfortable with us just allowing Ms. Jaco to present? All right, thank you so much.
Good evening, Your Honorable Mayor and City Council members. My name is Renee Jaco, and I'm the recently appointed Executive Director of the Palos Verdes Estates Foundation. I can't tell you how excited I am to have been asked to work with this foundation. I've been a resident of PVE Estates since 2007. I am a mother of 14-year-old twins in 8th grade at Palos Verdes Intermediate School. Throughout the last 16 years spent in Palos Verdes Estates, I've always enjoyed working in my community through local charities, schools, and sporting programs. I'm looking forward to working with the foundation directly with the council regarding our community's thoughts about unmet city needs. Some residents have suggested potential projects to the foundation, and I want to encourage all residents to do so. Obviously, with limited resources, we are unable to fulfill everyone's wants and desires. However, we do openly encourage community input that will ensure our future generations will share in PVE Estates' legacy. As you all are aware, the foundation was created a little over 3 years ago, and it has already made a significant difference in our community. Our mission is to encourage philanthropy through public and private partnerships within our city that increase our cultural, recreational, lifestyle, and safety programs. I would like to take a couple of minutes and describe why the foundation has made this application that is before you this evening. The foundation desires to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Palos Verdes project and utilize the opportunity to raise funds in support of our mission. Some of my board members and myself engage in discussion with city staff, specifically Merlin David, Captain Barber, Interim Chief Luke Hellinga, and the former city manager Mark Presswich, regarding health and safety needs that the foundation might consider as aspirational goals. It seems like every week we learn a new community emergency somewhere in the world, and we wanted to ensure that PVE Estates was prepared in the event of earthquakes, wildfires, and other emergencies. A list was provided to the foundation with the desires that would enhance public safety, yet were unavailable through traditional city funding. I'd like to just introduce Merlin. He's going to explain some of the funding.
A couple of things when they asked us what we needed as the police department, we thought that it would be good for us to have something in case of an emergency when everything is not available, especially the city structure. If it's damaged, then we don't have a place for us to be able to continue to operate as a city, and also to help our residents. So what we felt it was needed was an emergency command vehicle. So that's what we were hoping to talk to them about, and that would be outfitted with the latest communications, and it's a type of thing that we have for the Area G right now. So we're able to use their command center, a mobile command center, when we have activities like the golf, the LPGA tournament, and we used it when we had our Prepared Peninsula Expo up in last October, and that just gives an idea of how we can continue to operate and continue to help residents, schools if that's necessary, that we will be able to be there at those locations. And also updating our disaster preparedness containers. That's one of the things that we'd like to make sure that we have a lot of outdated items, and we want to make sure that we are able to have that as well. As we're going into communication through Zone Haven, we want to be able to do what it is to get prepared for that and be prepared for any emergency that might happen. So maybe that could be messaging boards or other items like that. So those are the lists of things. I think that everybody probably has seen our Area G mobile command center. So, but it's something that'll help us keep going as a city, keep us going as in case of an emergency, away from here and onto the areas that need it.
Thank you, Merlin. The foundation desires to raise these funding for these aspirational community needs that can not only support our residents, but also the Palos Verdes Peninsula Unified School District, as well as our neighbors on the peninsula. The foundation has been collaborating with one of our residents, Alan Sanford. He grew up in Palos Verdes and currently resides in the community. He and his company are volunteering their knowledge and expertise to help us put on this concert. Contrary to some belief, this is not McGowan's Woodstock or a complete full-on beach life festival. It is a community concert and a fundraiser that we are fortunate to have someone like Alan volunteering his time to work with us to produce an amazing event experience for our community. As the application states, the event is scheduled to be August 12, 2023. It will be held at the Malaga Cove School. It will feature a headline entertainer, a brief program recognizing the significance of the Palos Verdes project and the Vanderlip and Olmsted legacies, local entertainers, and some additional surprises. A temporary stage along with monitors, sound systems, and necessary support will be brought to the site. We will have food and alcohol available for purchase. That is pending approval from the Palos Verdes Peninsula Unified School District. The entire site will be fenced off and strict security will be enforced. The estimated attendance will be approximately 2,500 people. The plan will be to offer tickets first to the residents of Palos Verdes Estates before tickets are open to non-residents. I would like to highlight that the foundation plans to retain the services of Keith Kaufman, the recently retired Chief of Police from Redondo Beach, as a Director of Safety and Security. Keith brings relevant experience having managed security for beach life festivals in Redondo and Hermosa Beach. The parking plan is still in developmental stages and will be coordinated by Keith Kaufman in conjunction with the PVE Police Department. It is anticipated that off-site parking will be required and shuttle buses, bicycles, and Ubers will be available to bring some concert goers to the site. You can well appreciate that putting on an event of this magnitude requires numerous parties to work together and support the endeavor. The endeavor. The reason we are here before you this evening is to seek your approval for this event and pending requests with the school district, so the foundation can enter commitments for our entertainers. With your support and that of the school board, we will be able to make this a reality and celebrate this significant milestone and return back to the community that we love. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jaco. Questions for the applicant?
No questions for the applicant, but I'm sure we'll have our own discussion, right? Probably don't go too far.
Yeah.
Maybe sit there.
I'll maybe ask this. I think that there is probably some concerns about the level of insurance. I know that the certificate of liability insurance that you provided probably is just in response to what is requested on the application and not necessarily what you intend to. Okay. Do you have a proposal for the insurance that you want to? If you can go to the mic, so because I can't hear you at home if you're not.
Alan has sent over what they require for Beach Life Festival, and it's a commercial liability with a minimum requirement of $1 million combined single limit bodily injury and property damage per occurrence and commercial excess liability insurance in the amount of $5 million. And then it says, furthermore, the producer will be responsible for the preparation of the text for signage for operating procedures, rules, and regulations of festival and liability limitation issues. And that's what Alan carries for all of his Beachlight festivals.
Okay. And your, the insurance certificate that you have has an amount here for medical expenses for any one person, which Alan also sent me the language that you just described. That language that in their approval does not speak specifically to medical expenses. Do you have any guidance for us on what's appropriate there? $20,000 seems low to me.
I would have to double check, but it does sound low. So.
Okay. And then just one question, maybe it's for staff. On the parking that Ms. Jaco mentioned that would have to be coordinated, is there already a condition in the resolution related to getting approval on the parking plan?
There's a condition to submit a parking plan for review and approval.
Okay.
With a deadline in a few months in the summer.
Okay. Other questions, folks have?
I have a couple.
Actually, can I finish up on the insurance?
sure.
Sorry. So say again, because is it 1 million general liability? What did you just say?
This is what Alan.
We'll speak so people can hear.
So it says, it shall maintain, this is what Redondo Beach, their condition for that event. It's a different event. It's a
Totally different event,
three-day
yeah,
festival.
right.
But
A totally different event.
But, you know, this one obviously, I think, has lower liability associated with it than that
Maybe.
one. Well, I mean,
Okay, I guess my only
fewer
point here
people
is-
and fewer days.
So
But
my
it's
point is that we required, also we approved tonight, the PEF Foundation, Toast to the Coast, we required them to double those numbers, so why would we not require the same thing here?
That's probably a good point.
I mean, fair is fair, right?
At minimum.
At minimum, yeah.
So what is that, 2 and 10?
It was 2 million, 1 million. That's why I was trying to look.
So this is, I'll just read it again so that everyone is, shall maintain at a minimum commercial liability with minimum requirement of $1 million combined single limit bodily injury and property damage per occurrence and commercial excess liability insurance in the amount of $5 million.
So for PEF, we did general liability insurance, 2 million, and a liquor liability insurance for 1 million. It says 1 million per occurrence. So I think the other things that you, well, I guess I could go.
And then,
Yeah, sorry, let me go back to
so
the
we could
actual.
say,
We certainly aren't, we don't want less than what we've asked for PEF.
no, for
Right.
sure.
Seems like we should check with JPIA, the experts, and let us know what kind of coverage they think we need rather than us figuring out numbers, no?
Well,
Well, I mean, the statement that it makes no sense to have lower coverages than for the one we just approved makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Right?
So maybe that's the minimum, and
Yeah.
then, you know, maybe staff can check with JPA and validate that as well.
Yeah, I just bring it up because I know Trevor advised us when we were doing all of our concession agreements on what the latest and greatest thinking was on insurance levels.
Well, I mean, those are for properties we own as opposed to event insurance, but I mean,
Right.
it doesn't hurt, but
Right.
yeah, so I'm looking, I think everything, it looks like all of the same as what you've read, except requiring PEF to double the general liability and have the liquor liability.
looks like, Aaron, do you have something to say?
Oh, sorry, another person.
Come on up.
Just a comment on insurance as we're speaking about it. Per our special event guidelines, at the discretion of the risk manager of the city, we can make the special event liability insurance up to $5 million. So that's sort of what it's laid out as, but I'm sure you could change that if you want to.
Okay. Is it 5 million for what?
General liability
The general
insurance.
liability.
Okay, which I
We
think
made
we've all kind of
PEF do
stipulated.
too.
So why don't we
Yeah,
do,
we're below that anyway, right?
what's that?
The general liability on the Toast on the Coast, didn't you say it was 2?
Is going to be 2. Our standard is 1, and we required them to do 2, so we
that's
don't
below
want less
5.
than 2.
Huh?
Well,
We
he's,
don't
I
have,
think
no.
he's thinking, do we want
I
them
see
to do
3.
3?
I see 3 for, am I reading the wrong line on Toast to the Coast?
Probably. I don't know. Where are you?
Page 11 of 11? Or am I in the wrong document?
maybe.
No, that's just on the coast.
11, 3, scene 3.
Under commercial general liability.
Aggregate?
Yeah,
What you're looking
the
at?
aggregate and the general aggregate and product comp/op aggregate. I don't see,
Well, what I was talking about, what we have asked Toast PEF to do is go from 1 million on general liability to 2 million, and the extra 1 million for a liquor event. So, so I think that when you do that, it's going to change these aggregate numbers. I don't think that's apples and apples, the general aggregate versus general liability.
but won't this event have alcohol too?
That's what I'm saying, and we want the
Oh, okay.
alcohol license too. Yeah.
Right.
The alcohol is pending.
It's pending, right, but this approval, will we have to
Well, I
kind of.
don't think the alcohol is pending. I think where the alcohol is going to be consumed is pending.
Yes, correction.
That's a good.
Do not think the alcohol
That's a fair point.
is an unknown, yeah. The Toast of the Coast is an alcohol event, too. That's why I think that those are kind of comparable.
What's
But this
their,
one's going to be, they're like 700 people, right?
That's the question.
It said 700
This is
plus.
three times the number of people, so that's another, yeah. We might need to come back to that point, maybe.
So the 1 million the 1 million for alcohol is per occurrence.
What does that mean?
It means you could have
For every single.
Multiple issues.
multiple
Oh, dear
issues.
goodness gracious
So,
me, okay.
and then it's subject to probably the aggregate limit of 5 million. Well, in their case, the aggregate limit's lower. But if we follow what Redondo Beach does and set the aggregate limit at 5 million,
Probably something like that, yeah. I'm looking to see how many people attend. Sorry, staff. Anastasia, did you do the permit for PEF? I was sure it said in here how many people they had, but I feel like.
700 plus.
I thought it was like 750. Oh, 700 plus. There we go, sorry. Yeah, I mean, this is 3 times the amount of people, 3 times the amount of opportunities for something goofy.
so I like
3 million, 2 million?
I'm getting a
3
little.
million, 1 million?
3 million, 1 million, 5 million. What is the 3 million?
General liability?
Okay.
We could probably
Right,
getting
okay.
bogged down on this point, but
No, I think it's.
I mean,
worth- I think
the
it's-
reality is we're not qualified to pick the number.
exactly. We're
So-
totally not qualified to pick the
So
numbers.
long as,
Yeah.
we're making a judgment based on, something that's larger than Toast the Coast, and we're making intelligent guidance decisions, and then we're going to our carrier for guidance and advice, then
Yeah.
fine.
I think it's going to have to come, well, personally, I think this is going to have to come back to us anyway, probably, because there's quite a few things in here.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if I could, you could, we can check with the carrier, the JPI carrier, for their comment. So, for example, you could, as a condition, one of the conditions, right, up to the 5 million, but if it comes back that it's lower than that, we could insert that, but at least be a
Right.
cap.
I think that the applicant is interested in getting the approval because in order to do this, there's a financial outlay in getting the talent and all of that, and if we delay it a month, they lose the opportunity to do it.
Let's talk through it.
Okay, we'll talk through it.
I think that that's a good point. I think as part, assuming that we're going to approve this, I think that we set our minimum, and then we say, and with some blessing, we find the right wording here, but the city manager approves it on base, may increase that requirement given advice of JPIA.
Increase or decrease?
No.
Okay, may increase.
I would say not less than PEF and
Yeah.
more than as appropriate.
So the direction, and this is actually clear, it's okay, the direction is clear. It certainly needs to be more than the PEF event, but obviously there's an upper limit. So I'll get the advice of our JPIA, and that'll be a condition that you've directed me to get the advice of the JPA, and that's the number that I will insert.
Okay.
So, go ahead, Dawn.
I noticed that the fire department hasn't signed off on this. Is there a reason for that?
There is. I did send the application down to them. They weren't comfortable at the time because there wasn't as much information on it, but they did contact their battalion chief. So I haven't heard back yet, but I'm I can follow up this week.
And now that we have more of the information on the site plan, et cetera, that would be a part of the condition that has to be approved by the fire department and the police department and the public works. And that would be the condition ultimately in a form acceptable to the city manager.
So we would label that as a condition.
Yes.
Do you know, how many people normally attend like a Redondo Beach or Hermosa Beach Beach Life event? Just so I can kind of have a comparison point.
You know, I've been to Beach Life before. I would say there's certain days, I can't say an exact number, but I would say maybe double or double or at least
I wouldn't
triple.
be surprised if it's
I would say
10.
closer to 10,000 people.
Yeah, 10,000 people, yeah. It's a lot bigger.
Google says 10,000.
Thank you. What'd you say?
How many marbles are in this
10,000.
bottle?
I was like, oh, I'm going to look it up right now.
It's very large, and he has multiple stages with multiple entertainers
Yeah, I mean,
going on, and it's a whole experience. There's like built-in restaurants, and we don't want to do any of that. We will have VIP lounges, but it won't be a whole community of a concert.
And what do you expect your ticket prices to run?
Well, we would like to keep them, so people who want to just go in general admission, we're thinking anywhere from 100 to 250, 300, depending on the seating.
Actually, can we back into that number? Because that was something, do you mind, Dawn, if I ask a question on there? Is how much money, I mean, you talked about some equipment, you talked about things that you're trying to raise money for. So how much money are you trying to raise? Because in my mind, then that sort of dictates what the ticket price is going to be.
Well, we are trying to, of course, as much as we possibly can. We have hoped for at least $250,000 to raise for the community. For these, some of these items, like the mobile command center, is very expensive, but we'd also like to try to get some grants to help us with that as well.
So sponsorships, and also you're going to take in a cut of the food and beverage from those vendors, and so it's more than just ticket prices.
But we don't know what the costs are and what the entertainer cost is.
Correct.
I mean, the gross of this thing, if the average ticket price is, I'll just say 200, and it's 2,500, that's $500,000 in, and there'll be VIPs and whatever else, so they've got to raise 600,000 maybe, right? Minus the cost of the entertainer and the cost of
Well, again, not our area, but not our area of expertise. So you're making guesses on all of that.
Well, I'm not making a guess on 200 times 2,500. That's
Right.
$500,000.
Right. So I guess, I don't know, were you still going, Don?
I just had one other question. A mobile command center is a pretty big purchase, and so I'm wondering what kind of...
Do we want one?
Yeah, do we want
I
one?
mean,
What kind of
thanks, but do
vetting
we
is
want
going to
one?
be done? I mean, if
Yeah.
you really, I remember talking to our most recent city manager, and, he made, had a perspective that if there were really a major emergency, that LA County and others would come to our aid. And so I'm just trying to figure out when are we going to be using this other than, LPGA and others where we can always, if we reserve in advance, we can borrow one. So I'm just wondering what kind of business case is going to be created before we go out and purchase such a large item.
Would you like me to address that?
Yes, please.
So the purpose of this mobile command unit is to be able to use it in the city when the Area G mobile command post is unavailable. So essentially how we usually reserve the Area G command post is we contact Hawthorne Police Department because it's stored at their facility. And if no one else has reserved it, then they'll set it aside for us. Mm-hmm. Now, if we reserve it for LPGA, and during the LPGA, let's say on Saturday or Sunday when the event is highest, any agency in the South Bay has a high priority SWAT incident or maybe an officer-involved shooting, which I've seen this command post at, then they will come and get it from us and take it to that location. Another reason, and this is why it ties into the DDP program, is if there is a major disaster in LA County, that Area G command post, I can almost guarantee you it will not be in Palos Verdes Estates. because there's much more dense populations in the South Bay than Palos Verdes Estates, and it will most likely be used at a more central location. A third reason is we all know that there's a study going on with the building. If this building were to collapse, we would not have anywhere to operate emergency command post. I'm sorry, an emergency operations center out of, including an area to dispatch from. So we wouldn't be able to dispatch our officers. We wouldn't be able to do anything with the current command post that we have, which is obsolete.
So this would be more of a kind of an insurance policy for if there were a major event that we'd have a place to operate?
I would go beyond that. It's not just an insurance policy. It's so that we can operate the LPGA without depending on, hoping, fingers crossed, that no other major incidents happen in the South Bay. It's so that, we used to have the half marathon annually here in Palos Verdes. We used our trailer for that every single year.
So that's twice a year? So I go back to my question of, is there going to be a business case before we buy this big thing and I don't know how quickly it goes out of, not the word out of date, but
Just
so anyway,
Appreciated, I believe, is the word you're seeking.
Well, yeah. I think I think there's a few issues here. And one, and of course, never would we want to be not gracious and not thankful for somebody who comes and says, hey, I'm going to raise some money and buy you some stuff that you need. I mean, that, and the body cameras were a perfect example. To me, but when I said, well, how much are you going to raise? And you said, well, maybe like $250,000. Well, we did that event, the body camera event at the golf club for a few hundred people and raised like $400,000. So I don't know why I would want to have a huge disruption to the community. And, I want to know, like, what do we want to raise? And, I'm struggling. I'm struggling a little bit here.
No, I misunderstood. I meant to say we it all depends on the approval and the alcohol permits and where we have the event and who's the performer. We have there's a lot of balls in the air, but we are.
Right.
I'll just say this. I think that so at an event like that, you're really asking for donations, and I think what Ms. Jaco is describing are the things that you can make just by selling admission and by taking a cut of food and beverage. That doesn't mean there aren't opportunities for corporate sponsorships to have donations, to do things like silent auctions associated with the event.
Yeah.
There's really a big opportunity here. And I wonder if maybe rather than get too hung up on the specific suggestion that they, the specific equipment that they are considering purchasing, it's fair to say that you're committed to donating the proceeds of this event for the purpose of public safety to the city. And the specifics maybe can be worked out later.
I think to the Mayor Pro Tem's point, so for me, I'm struggling with this application a little bit because when I read it, I was like, oh, hey, cool, look at this. And then it seems like there's so many loose ends that it's not fully baked. And so it's hard to approve something that isn't fully baked, because if it's not fully baked and there isn't a business plan and there isn't all these specifics, it makes it hard to make a decision about, well, okay, is this good for our community or is this not good for our community? So, and I do think, and I will just say, maybe this is a commentary more for our city manager. This is a big deal, this event. So the fact that it started its life on the consent agenda to me was just completely not appropriate. This is a big deal. So let me go through my list. So to me, how much you're trying to raise backs into what the tickets will be. And do I want to have is a Palos Verdes Estates event a $600 a ticket thing? I don't know the answer to that. I'd probably say no. If you look at the Toast on the Coast, which we do get quite a bit of pushback on that Toast of the Coast event, it's from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. An event from 2 o'clock, a concert from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock in this city, that's a big deal. People need to be able to weigh in on that. And the fact that the original application said it was going to be from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock on April 5th, and then it was April 12th, and it's 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Again, not fully baked. And to me, it's critical that we know who the entertainment is going to be, because
Well, you can't
is
know
it
who
David?
the entertainment is until you pay them.
Fine, but is it David Benoit or is it Gwen Stefani? Because that's two totally different events in this town. I mean, you're talking PVE Beachlife, you know, and believe me, I'm the first one who's going to be standing there having a great time. But I'm not making a decision for me. I'm making a decision for 13,500 people. And there is an element of disruption, the parking, the traffic. I mean, just think about when we used to do full-on fireworks down, you know, that barge. Oh, my God, that traffic was a nightmare. And that's just people getting in and out to watch fireworks. And I think, to me, this sort of is sounding like not necessarily an event for our residents. And how do you really control, do I want to have PVE Beachlife for people who don't live in PVE? I don't think I do. I don't know if I do, but that's the discussion point. So those are my thoughts, and that's where I'm
So I believe that
struggling.
you've already committed that the tickets would be sold only to residents of PVE.
Only to residents.
No, it said first to residents.
Well,
First,
to
and
PVE.
That's
then,
because you interrupted me before I finished my sentence.
I'm sorry.
yeah, and first to PVE residents, and then if we didn't sell them all out, we were going to open it up to the surrounding peninsula.
Talk to us about the efforts that you've already made in discussing and contacting neighbors, particularly Lower Malaga Cove.
We have sent out letters to everyone within the radius of who we needed to send out for to let them know about the concert, and we've sent those out well in advance. So
That was the March 1 letter that was in the packet.
the dates only changed because it originally was on July 4th, but then given the security, and we tried to
Ms. Jaco,
figure out, yeah.
just to be clear, the application was originally for August 5th. July 4th
August 5th.
was never part of the application. The application was originally August 5th.
August 5th.
The letter went out, it's dated August 5th, with the event hours 2 to 10, which is consistent with what the event hours are consistent with in the application. The application was modified to move it to the following weekend. A second letter was sent out at the time of that modification.
To those surrounding 300 feet of
300
the
feet
location?
is approximately 60 households.
So there was a notice that corrected the error that was sent out?
Was, yes.
So the notice
Yes.
has been provided properly for the code?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you hear from anyone after sending out the letter? Has anyone contacted you?
No.
Interesting.
I'm curious,
I get-
how many people are within 300 feet? I mean,
60 households.
60 is what he said.
I think it was 59.
okay.
Is that, maybe I'll go to city manager, city attorney, is that, I realize that meets the legal requirement. This one's 3 times the size of Toast the Coast. Is that really sufficient notice in terms of number of residents, and should we seek greater support and input?
Sure.
It's a policy question for us.
I mean, this is a special event permit. This comes under the noise, section of the code, and these rules have been developed here, I think, from the city about the notice. As you mentioned, if they provided the notice to 300 people 10 days before, then they did meet the legal requirement, but that does not prevent the council from making a condition to require additional notice. This could be continued to a future date or put on consent if you want to require additional notice to be provided. There's nothing preventing you from requiring additional notice if you feel that the impacts are such that you want more people to be aware.
Actually, I am kind of curious about the movement of the date, because I went back and looked at the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation from maybe, 2 meetings ago maybe, on what the thinking was for the project, PVE Project 100. And it did originally say that the concert was that the whole thing was going to be on 4th of July, and the concert was part of that. And and it was like a big one-day event, cool, great. And I can kind of understand maybe why you wouldn't want to put that on the 4th of July. That might be packing too much stuff in. But moving it to August, I am a little bit concerned then you're going to have this thing the middle of August, and then you're going to have Toast on the Coast the middle of September. That might be a lot to ask for people in that neighborhood. But just curious, how come it moved? So now it seems funny that it's not part of the celebration, or is the whole celebration moving to August?
It's the same event that was planned. I mean, it's the original, what we discussed in February, what I presented in February was it was on the 4th of July, but it wasn't a 4th of July event necessarily, sort of, that was, we ended up moving it for, I think, for a number of reasons. And the reason it bounced around a couple of times was for different reasons. One was the 4th of July, which is on a Wednesday and seems like a good day, is not necessarily the best day to make it. A lot of people have sort of family traditions on that day. We also had a particular issue with the beach club because that's a big day for the beach club on that day.
Yeah.
And we had the availability of the security, the fellow from Redondo Beach, and the availability of Alan, who's a resident here, who's advising them. And all of those things, caused the date to bounce around until they settled on the 12th.
So is the whole PV Project 100 kind of the celebration of the original rally? Is that all? The day of the concert? This
is the event.
Oh, I thought now there were two events.
No,
Oh,
this
I
is
thought
the
there was
only
still
event.
a July event and an
No.
August event. Gotcha, thank you.
There's
Glad
only
I
this
asked.
event.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll pull my question back from the city manager and city attorney, because you wanted to make it a policy question. We haven't notified enough residents. There's going to be a lot of people that are paying attention to 2,500 people being shuttled down to Malaga Cove. I'm not saying I don't support the idea. I just think we're not constructing a house here, right? We're potentially conducting a pretty significant event that might be unbelievably amazing and unconditionally supported, but we got to notify them. I'm not sure what the number is, but it's not 50 houses.
I completely disagree.
I respect that.
We sent this to everyone in Lower Malaga Cove that is likely to have a significant impact from it. I think that's sufficient. I don't think that we need to notify people in advance that live in Monte Malaga about this, or
I don't think you need all of Lower Malaga Cove, probably all the way up to the drive. Who's the we? Are you working on behalf of the foundation? Who's the we?
He's part of the ad hoc.
I'm part of the ad hoc.
Just in the ad hoc?
Yes.
Well, okay. Because the applicant is the foundation. So when you said the we, I was like, well, wait a minute, who's the we? Okay, gotcha. Yep. I guess
all I'm trying to say is I'm concerned that people will be surprised and that somehow there needs to be more communication. I'm learning from another experience that we had where people felt like there might not have been enough notice, and I sort of want to.
Was that an incident that, excuse me, was that the thing you're referring to? Are you talking about the
Don't say the word.
The round? I mean,
Don't say the word.
The thing is that you're right. There's lessons to be learned from that experience, but those lessons are relevant to something like a major capital project that substantially changes the character of that intersection for eternity, and less relevant to a one-day event.
Festival.
That's a fair point, but I don't think that you can go wrong by.
Well, you can, because you can, if we may not end up with an event if we keep pushing this.
The one thing I might suggest is that, like the LPGA event, there will be a significant amount of public notice going out as we move towards the event outside of this permit process. So in terms of making sure everyone knows in a timely manner, and you can do that all day long. So that I think city staff could handle, and of course with the assistance of the foundation.
So you could make more broader notification a condition. Broader notification is probably not going to change the decision we make. It's just telling people what's coming, right?
I wasn't trying to deny it per se.
No, I'm not saying that. I just mean that we could make it a condition to say, look, you gotta let people know there's going to be a big honking concert down the street from their house.
I'm okay with this being a foundation fundraiser, although I have to say, when we first talked about this, I really thought we were going to be putting on a community event, because we don't do community events anymore. We don't do 4th of July. We don't do any of that. And I don't think something that's going to be $100 to $350 a ticket, in my opinion, isn't a community event. So it's a shame. We've missed that window. It is what it is. Let's make up for it in 2039 when we have our own 100-year celebration, and let's make sure we plan a year and a half in advance. So I'm okay with it being a foundation fundraiser. I'm okay with it being a concert. When the LPGA first came up, we were like, oh my God, it's going to be so disruptive. There's going to be this and there's going to be that. And Mr. McGowan and I were the golf club liaisons at the time, and we worked with staff, and staff did a beautiful job of working through and making sure, the police department and the finance department and public works, around making sure that everything was addressed, parking and this and that and this and everything. It was a really well-done event, and we're doing it again this year. What gives me a little bit of pause is only seems half-baked, and I'm worried about what we don't know and what might fall through the crack, because we're rushing to get things done. And when we rush to get things done, sometimes we overlook or forget things. So that's the thing that's making me nervous about this.
Well, let me just counter with this. Alan Sanford, resident of Mulligar Cove, promoter of the Beach Life Festival, he's the one involved who's providing guidance to the foundation on this. He knows how to do this. This, compared to his work on Beach Life Festival, is a walk in the park. And he's providing pro bono to the foundation the resources of his entire organization to put in the right vendors, to get the stage set up, to identify the talent. I think we have every reason to believe that he will put in, that it will be a very successful event and will raise a lot of money and people will have a great time. And, you know, to be honest with you, some of the discussion, I think the insurance stuff, very interesting topic for me, where I feel like we're a little ahead of our skis here, trying to ask, well, who's going to be performing? And, you know, I mean, a lot of these things, they're not even in our purview.
Well, I mean, I think to Victoria's point, you know, you bring in a rapper.
We have some really good
Apologies
entertainers.
to any rappers.
Yeah.
We're just waiting to see what day. It depends on if the approval of the day for the entertainers. I think you guys will like some of the ones that are being thrown around.
I've heard Ms. Jaco make a few suggestions.
A few suggestions that we have been talking about: Sheryl Crow, Blondie. Bigger names
looking
like
for
that.
folks, looking for acts that have broad appeal for the demographics.
Definitely not rappers, and definitely not slow. And we still do plan to do a little bit of a community event somewhere in the middle and have some local bands in the beginning. So we're working again on if that, you don't need a ticket for that part. Possibly, it all depends. So that is kind of where we're at. It just all depends on when we can secure the day for Alan to secure all the talent and the people, if they're in town or not. And so
it sounds like the two outstanding conditions are the insurance and fire department and all the things that Anastasia needs them to do.
And broader notification.
And broader notification.
Let me throw this in here. I want to make sure that in particular, Renee, you understand that we're not picking you apart. You know, just to do that, right? We're representing everybody in our city, and I think it's great that we're going to inject, you know, some excitement and youth, with all due respect, and you know, bring energy forward, et cetera. But it's our job to ask the tough questions to ensure that we're protecting our residents, because it's our job. And you know, simply saying, "Oh, it's going to be just like Toast the Coast. Let's just sign off on that and let it rip." That's just not fair to our residents, which is why I'm asking about notification, which is why we're asking these other questions.
I just wanted to add one comment. The recommended motion states subject to the conditions of approval. We left it vague enough if you guys want to add more conditions, so it wasn't limited to just staff or PD or fire. You can add on conditions like, for example, the insurance or anything else, notification. So we left it broad enough if you wanted to add in more conditions or a little bit more detail to those, you can. But we just wanted to make sure for your motion, you could suggest other conditions if you would like.
I think it would be helpful, even aside from the approval tonight, so you can figure out the talent and get moving. I think it'd be very helpful if he'd be willing to do it, for Alan to come and sort of, you know, give us an update and give the public an update. So that between now and then, or even closer to now, when things are a little bit closer and moving forward, that we have communication both from you and potentially even from him, not into the details of the permit that'll already potentially be out of the way and the insurance and everything else, but the community's going to want to know what's going on, not just in a postcard.
Definitely. All right.
I'm going to ask if we have any public comment real quick. Yes, sir, please come forward.
Did you fill out a card on
I
that?
just was going to say the same thing.
What is your name, sir?
Like, excuse me, sir, do you have a card?
This has gotten me excited, so
Uh-oh.
I forgot to fill out the card. Want me to do it right now?
You
No.
can do it afterwards. Save the public time.
I have to move this down due to my height. Okay. Good evening, and thank you, Honorable Mayor Roos, as well as Mayor Pro Tem Don Murdock, and our council members. My name is Steve Friedrich. I've lived on Paseo del Mar in Lower Malaga Cove for almost 18 years now. And I actually was going to speak in this area, but you've hit some other nerves in me that I hope I can squeeze in quickly. And I see that darn clock tapping. First, real quick, I'd like to thank all of you, and I'd like to thank all of our staff, for our city staff and our police department. You guys have a very difficult job. It's at times abusive, the kind of attacks you get. It's at times, I'm sure, feels as though you're not appreciated at all, but I want to speak for myself, and I believe I can speak for the vast majority of our community. Thank you for all you do and all of the time and the effort and the anguish that you go through, unpaid as volunteer leadership for our community. So thank you. Background. I came here and almost immediately joined Neighborhood Watch. After that, I was asked to get involved with the original concept of our disaster preparedness program, our DDP program. So I was one of 6 volunteers who helped create that program. That's very envious of a lot of communities here in the country. It's very unique and very worthwhile. That program is built for us, our community, our city of Palos Verdes Estates. And I'm going to speak first to some of the dialogue I've heard. If any of you can predict that we're not going to have a major event, I know we talked about that it can help with LPGA and if, Torrance or Redondo Beach, their vehicles. We're in a situation, again, as a DDP originator, I've been intimately involved with our command center, our mobile command center, which is a trailer, which is decrepit. I've been intimately involved in how our disaster preparedness, what the requirements are, what our capabilities are. It's all done by volunteers and trained volunteers. And in the event of a disaster, we've met with Caltech. They don't say don't worry about it. It's a real thing coming eventually, possibly not in our lifetime. I've got all of the modeling software that is an animation that shows from Caltech that shows the tearing from Salton Sea all the way north, the time frame involved in the magnitude. We are not in this little bubble here in Malaga Cove on bedrock. They told me about 4 months ago that yes, it would be less by a small amount, but that's maybe saying instead of a 7.8, we're going to feel a 6.9. It's not going to be that we're going to feel a 1.0. So I want to kind of put that to bed in my mind. I want to get that out because we have a threat that could occur, and if our command system is down, we're in a world of hurt. And by the way, the county...
Thank you, Mr. Friedrich. Your time's expired.
I think we got the point.
Yep,
I think we need
so.
a command center.
Is there, yes, sir, please come forward. Thank you, Mr.
My name's
Williams.
Sean Williams, and thank you for taking me on such short notice. I just want to make a couple real quick points, one of which is this is a pretty major undertaking, which I think you all recognize, and I'm not sure how much precedent there is. And the one thing that strikes me is that 2,500 people coming into a city of 12,500 is more than a little impact, particularly when it's coming through the well-known problems of the Malaga Cove traffic situation. So I'm just a little concerned that this might get out of hand. I know everyone's going to try and avoid that, but at some point there's a limit. You can't bring in 10,000 people. Maybe you can't bring in 5,000 people. What is the limit? I don't think anyone knows, and it just kind of looks like putting 2 pounds of stuff into a 1 pound sack. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comment from the public?
Can I just add something, Mr. Williams? I think you make an excellent point about the intersection here. LPGA on their larger days does bring in more than 2,500 people in a day. So we, our public works and, right. So it's not that intersection, but, yeah.
I think, Renee, you guys aren't expecting there to be a lot of parking down by, am I don't know if
There will be some parking, but we hope to get those buses from the schools and have stops where everyone can get picked up, and there'll be Uber stops in Malaga Cove, and also we have a bike parking area for people who want to ride bikes or electric bikes. So we hope to keep the traffic minimal. As minimal as we can.
So Michael and I are both on the board of PV Transit, and PV Transit is who supplies the school transportation, and they do charter events. And
we would love that.
And they give nonprofits a discount.
We would love that.
We're going to charge you extra, but
that's just also
we would be happy to help with that part.
That part, yeah.
Yeah, the date is what we need to get all of that worked out. So.
Okay.
So I'll just ask again if there's any other public comment before I close public comment. All right, I'll close the public comment then and bring it back to the council. So I'll tell you, I'll lay out what I would like to do, and I know you guys may be of different minds, but what I would like to do is
It starts with, I move that.
Well, the thing is, I'm gonna draw it in kind of broad strokes here, because on the insurance stuff, I don't have a clear idea in my head of what we said. I feel like we can get there, but I just don't. So I think it's probably there's multiple notifications that need to go to the neighbors, because they probably maybe following this approval, maybe all of Lower Malaga Cove is notified of this event, and then in advance of the event, they probably need to send them again a more detailed explanation of the plans for that particular day and how they might be affected by it. So something along those lines. The insurance, we need to specifically have a condition that they receive sign off from the fire department, and I think that might be it.
Was it?
And a parking plan.
And then we were going to require the fire.
Yes.
He said that.
Do you have notes on what the, I'm writing a motion. Do you have notes on what the PEF insurance is?
Well, I think our direction was to the city manager to increase the insurance limits not less than the PEF event.
Those set for the Toast on the Coast event.
More as appropriate.
I thought we said not less than 5 million.
Yeah, not less than
5 million.
5 million what, though?
5 million.
Not 5 million aggregate. What do they call this?
I think didn't we just say we were going to give direction?
Right, it's
Yeah, I got it.
larger than the.
Not less than PEF.
Correct, and my sense is, just having quite a bit of experience with special events, prior, the 5 million aggregate would certainly be the ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
So I would start with that, not less than 5 million aggregate, and subject to approval by the city manager in conference with JPIA. Oh, and a liquor liability.
And a liquor liability.
Or
That's
alcohol
part of the
liability,
PEF, yeah.
Is that in the aggregate?
Do not know.
It's, I think,
It's in addition, well,
In addition to
it's
the
a
aggregate.
separate, it's a separate.
Separate policy?
I don't know if it's a separate policy, but it's certainly a separate line item. It's a 1 million per occurrence alcohol liability.
And do we do anything about the medical expense?
that's generally in the
We leave it
general
at the 20?
liability.
That might be something, I feel like that might be something that the city manager should, that's for the JP.
Yeah, let me look into that, but
But all of it, yeah.
Because the PEF is at 20, so I'm like,
Yeah.
in what I will do is I will provide a written report back to council of just my discussions, findings, and
Can't even get out of the ER for 20 grand.
Right. And they will, obviously, they will, this condition means they will also provide evidence of all that insurance in advance, right? Yes.
And the city will be the named insured.
Okay.
Are you setting any date or deadline for any of these? I mean, that might be a question for staff because I would guess you should probably set a date for
Yeah.
fire department approval.
I would say, how do we feel, Renee, how do you feel about like May 31 for a deadline for meeting all the conditions? She's nodding yes, okay.
I just wanted to clarify, City Manager, you said that the insured would be the city, and the certificate says the insured's the foundation, so.
The city should be an additional named.
Right, additional
Okay,
named insured.
okay, thank
Yes.
you.
Is the parking plan included in the May 31 date?
Yes.
Got it? And what are you started talking about the broader notification idea. So is it simply all of Lower Malaga Cove upon approval here?
All of I would say we should probably do all of Lower Malaga Cove and all of Palos Verdes Drive West in Malaga Cove.
So all of Lower Malaga Cove to include Palos Verdes Drive West?
Yes.
And what's the timing of that? Is that after this meeting? I think you talked about 2 notifications.
2 notifications, one notifying residents of the approval and the current.
Within how many days of the approval?
Within 14 days, 10 days, 7 days, whatever, I mean.
Longer, that seems short.
30.
Well, they.
Okay.
30.
I'd say 30.
30, okay.
And the more detailed?
I'm sorry, I think the clerk has a question.
Oh, and school district approval, thank you for the reminder. That will be part of the condition.
I think that was already in there, right?
We'll make it part of the motion in any event. Yeah, but that.
Right, well, they'll have their requirements, for
So
sure.
with the notification for the city to enforce any condition like that, it might help to have a distance. So typically, we do the 300 feet, we do 1,000 feet, but it's hard for the city to enforce just a neighborhood or a street unless.
Well, how about we say.
Is that because of how the system works for pulling the addresses?
Yes.
I would say all of Palos Verdes Drive West through 641 Palos Verdes Drive West, which is the last home before Bluff Cove, and then all of the streets, all of the residents on the streets via Media. You ready for the list?
Hold on a minute.
Oh, my God.
Can you pull the streets?
Can't you just make a boundary and it's everything inside the boundary?
We all know what this means.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Palos Verdes Drive West.
I would say it's Palos Verdes Drive West, north to.
Can somebody just tell us from that location that 1,000 feet hits my house? I mean.
You can do 2,000 feet. You can do however.
Well, the problem is that I think that.
Weird shape.
Yeah, it's a weird shape, and you really want to notice everyone in Lower Malaga Cove. But then if you just drew a circle, you're going to end up notifying people that are really far, because it costs money, and it takes time to stuff envelopes. And it's a lot of people, and it's going to be people that live a long way away.
And we'll put it in the updates.
Right.
Okay, so you're going to give me the streets?
Yeah.
Okay, notification of all residents located.
On Palos Verdes Drive West, up to and including number 641.
Up to and including, well, wait a minute, Palos Verdes Drive, that's a big street. So from X to Y.
From 0 to 641. I don't know, the first one is
I see.
309. Well, no,
From Via Corta to 641.
right. Honestly, you could make it all homes north of Palos Verdes Drive West to the city boundary. And
All homes north of Palos Verdes Drive West. This is unquestionably going to be the best motion of my entire existence.
I can't wait,
On the
because it looks
city
like a
council.
freaking novel over there. What
It
are you
is.
doing?
I'm editing it to try and make it smaller. All homes north of Palos Verdes Drive West, yes.
east
Yeah.
to the city boundary, north to the city boundary, I'm sorry, east to Via Corta, west to the city boundary, north to the city boundary.
Oh, you want to try that again? This is awesome.
This is not awesome.
It is awesome.
I wish that we could just say Lower Malaga Cove, because we all know what that means.
I think we do all, can we just leave it to staff to figure it out?
Yeah.
We can? Sweet.
Everything west of PV Drive West in that little enclave.
Yeah.
All homes in Lower Malaga Cove.
Way less typing, nice.
No, including?
No.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Can't wait for this.
You'll be here for a while. Get some food. Notification of all homes in Lower Malaga Cove within 30 days. Got it. And then what about the are we going to just trust and leave it to them to do further notification beyond that, or do you want it conditional?
No, I think we should be specific.
Okay, further notification?
Within 30 days prior to the event, detailing parking and, any, the security plan and any impacts or that may.
Okay, now let me find it.
Done?
Yeah, but the hell number is this now? Let's see.
7.
No, there, that's why I don't see it. Okay.
Okay,
All right, I got it.
Starting to look like the audit is going to be an uptick from here.
I got it. It is going to be an uptick from here because it's probably really good.
No, they've left.
All right,
Even the auditors have had enough.
they're like, God, we're hoping they don't tear apart the AFCR and make that approval. All right, I move on item number 7. I move that we approve the special event application submitted by the Palos Verdes Estates Foundation, Palos Verdes Project 100, scheduled for Saturday, August 12th, 2023, from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., subject to the following conditions. 1, approval from the Palos Verdes Peninsula Unified School District, including policy adjustments to support alcohol consumption at the Malaga Cove School site. Number 2, not less than $5 million.
Sorry, Michael, just to stop you. I don't know that we necessarily need that condition in here because the event can go on without their approval. They could end up not serving alcohol if they, because it's likely that they will, it's likely they are going to get approval for the location, but as Councilmember Lozzi mentioned, they may have a beer garden that would be in the parking lot as opposed to on the school grounds. And so I don't think we want to add a condition that requires their approval on the alcohol because they can still have the event without that approval.
So simply approval by the school district for use of the site. Okay, back that up to the point of subject to. Approval from the Palos Verdes Peninsula Unified School District for the use of the Malaga Cove site. Not less than $5 million aggregate, with the City of Palos Verdes Estates being the named insured, plus a $1 million per occurrence limit for alcohol liability, with the city manager seeking guidance from JPIA with a written report provided to council. Fire, police, and public works approvals, including an approved parking plan by May 31st, 2023. Notification of all homes in Lower Malaga Cove of this approval within 30 days. Further notification of all homes in Lower Malaga Cove 30 days prior to the event with parking, security, and related impacts.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Cool.